Here comes Tony, walking in the room, mic in hand, something about to boom. Tell me what you gotta say. Tell me, make it count today. Big Tony speaks, and everybody listens. Big Tony speaks, his voice just keeps on lifting. When Tony talks, you know you gotta hear him. Big Tony speaks. Sit right down, let me hear your voice. Share your thoughts, Tony gives you choice. Tell me what you gotta say. Tell me, make it count today. You always speak, Big Tony speaks, and everybody listens. Big Tony speaks, his voice just keeps on lifting. When Tony talks, you know you gotta hear him. Big Tony speaks. Big Tony speaks. He's got something to say every single day. He's got something to say. Come on out and play. Big Tony speaks, and everybody listens. Big Tony speaks, his voice just keeps on lifting. When Tony talks, you know you gotta hear him. Big Tony speaks. Big Tony speaks. Big Tony. Big Tony speaks.
What is going on, everyone? I hope you're doing well this fine Tuesday. As usual on Tuesday, the plan is to do my show, and it'll be a short one, and go over and do Killer Carl's. Now, that possible it could actually not happen, but I have to be prepared because I've promised him that anytime he wants me to come on, I will come on. Same with James at Empty Pockets, but usually that's late at night, so it doesn't interfere with my show. But anyway, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up and show me some love. It's a thumbs up on both platforms. I don't care what you call it. Hit that thumbs up. And if you're not already following the channel, please do hit that follow or subscribe, whichever it is on your particular platform. And on both platforms, it is a bell. So ring that notification bell. Treat it like it owes you money and refuses to pay. That way you know when I come on. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. First off, we're going to be talking about, the elephant in the room, Bad Bunny, and his halftime show that he did that was beaten, of course, by TPUSA's All-American halftime show with Kid Rock, of course. And, it seems that there are some new developments involving that halftime show. You know that his entire show was in Spanish and therefore alienated nearly the entire crowd at the game and pretty much everybody watching, because English is the official language of the United States of America. And that's what we expect when we watch the Super Bowl and watch the halftime show. We expect that the artist is going to perform in the official language of the country, which is English. I mean, even if they perform in, the King's English, as in the UK, it is still understandable English to most Americans. And in fact, Southerners, nearly speak the King's English anyway. So, as I said, there have been some new developments. So let's go ahead and get into this. Get into our first article here. GOP lawmaker calls on FCC to take action after Bad Bunny's shocking and vulgar halftime show lyrics are translated into English. So some people had the wherewithal to say, hey, I'm curious what he was actually saying. And they translated what he was saying into English so they could understand it. And well, um, they wished they didn't, I think. And I'm going to share those lyrics with you, and you can make your own determination about that. They were quite vulgar and actually broke some FCC rules, some major FCC rules, um, and could end up costing the NFL some hefty duty fines. Could cost NBC broadcast licensure, and could cost Bad Bunny himself a lot of money. Um, so let's get into this article here. At least one GOP lawmaker is calling on the Federal Communication Commission, the FCC, to take action after Bad Bunny's shocking and vulgar halftime lyrics were translated from Spanish to English. As the Gateway Pundit reported on Sunday night, Hispanic entertainer Bad Bunny performed at the halftime show at Super Bowl 60. Commissioner Roger Goodell, however you say it, I think his name is Mud after this halftime show, and his team picked this anti American act who no one has heard of and most people cannot understand to play at the Super Bowl this year. This was infuriating to millions of Americans. And that is when TPUSA stepped in and decided to hold their own halftime show. At least 25 million people. It was a lot more. They actually now hold the record for the largest viewership of a live stream in YouTube history. But at the time of the writing of this article, the count was at roughly 25 million people. During one scene, you can see two men simulating sex with each other. And that actually caught my attention. I had it playing, but the volume was down, and I was watching TPUSA's show. Me and Marilyn both loved the TPUSA show. I wish it had actually been live, and they had advertised it for longer so they could generate a large crowd. I mean, they had a decent crowd at that, but it was pre-recorded and everything so that they could time everything exactly right. So, oh, excuse me, y'all. um, Bad Bunny's Spanish lyrics were translated to English, and they were much worse than previously thought. And what follows is a large portion of the lyrics, not the entire lyrics. Um, so, we will, and that was Mad Marilyn messing with the lights. Um, our lighting, including my lighting for the show, are all on remote control, and she hit the wrong switch. So anyway, um, these lyrics. This is only, as I said, only part of the lyrics. Starting with verse 4 right here. um, he says, my, you can see the word is being chased, and I want you to hide it. Grab it like a bonga. She took a pill that made her horny. She F's in the Audi, not the Honda. If I give it to you, don't call me, because this is not to make you love me. If your boyfriend doesn't eat your ass, he better F off. We move on. Come down to my house, I'll lick it all up. Mommy, I'll lick it all up. Come down to my house, I'll wear you out. I'll wear you out. Come down to my house, I'll lick it all up. Poppy, keep going. Mommy, I'll lick it all up. Poppy, keep going. Tell me, servant. Poppy, keep going. If you smoke weed, Poppy, Poppy. Joel, baby, 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 ha ha, ha 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 ha. The dealer is twerking hard. It seems like she F's while high. I want to take a selfie with that huge ass. Erect, erect, I'm erect and it shows. Whoa, whoa. What are we going to do with that huge ass? What? In university, they're all A, but those tits are C. You are super horny, woo mommy. I already know. I'm also horny. What are we going to do? You know. With that bum bum, go crazy bum bum. Go crazy with that bum bum. Go crazy bum bum. If you have that bum bum, go crazy bum bum. If you have that bum bum, go crazy. And Congressman Randy Fine called on the FCC to take action, including fines and broadcast license reviews against the NFL, NBC, and Bad Bunny. Representative Fine's statement: you can't say the F word on live TV. That is an FCC regulation. You cannot use the F word on live TV. And because number one, Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, um, making Puerto Ricans technically Americans. They are subject to U.S. laws and the regulations of the FCC. So, even though his halftime show was entirely in Spanish, we have quite a number of Spanish speaking Americans in this country, and that F word was understood by people watching, and by the way, by Hispanic children who speak Spanish who were watching the Super Bowl and the halftime show. Okay, and well, quote, Bad Bunny's disgusting halftime show was illegal. Had he said these lyrics and all of the other disgusting and pornographic filth in English on live TV, the broadcast would have been pulled down and fines would have been enormous. Puerto Ricans are Americans, and we all live by the same rules. We are sending Brendan Carr FCC a letter calling for dramatic action, including fines and broadcast license reviews against the NFL, NBC, and Bad Bunny. Lock them up. So there you go. Bad Bunny may be in some seriously hot water after Brendan Carr investigates and etc. And the NFL may be in some hot water, and so might NBC, who exclusively aired the Super Bowl. So let's do a little update to the Bad Bunny saga, and it's a major one because Bad Bunny may be in a lot of hot water. He may be having to pay some huge fines, and this may just completely destroy his career because large companies, sponsors and etc., are trying to distance themselves from this vulgar and disgusting performance, and the decision to have had this performer do the Super Bowl halftime show, which lies solely on the shoulders of Mr. Goodell, Roger Goodell, and his team. Because Bad Bunny is well known for hating America, and he's also well known for performing in drag and portraying himself as the devil. And this does not match with the values of the United States or its people. So the blame lies solely on Roger Goodell and his team. And I hope that he is forced to resign over this, as well as his entire team. They shouldn't have too hard of a time replacing him with someone who actually loves America. And that's the point. Oh, okay. So let's move on. Get on with the show, as it were. Clearing up all the ads at the moment off of the page that I'm about to share, and here it is. FBI releases surveillance photos and video of masked subject in Nancy Guthrie abduction. The FBI released photos and videos of a masked subject in the Guthrie abduction case. FBI Director Kash Patel said the video footage from Nancy Guthrie's home may have been corrupted. Per Kash Patel, over the last 8 days, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department have been working closely with our private sector partners to continue to recover any images or video footage from Nancy Guthrie's home that may have been lost, corrupted, or inaccessible due to a variety of factors, including the removal of recording devices. The video was recovered from residual data located in back-end systems. Working with our partners, as of this morning, law enforcement has uncovered these previously inaccessible new images showing an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance. And then they ask anyone with information to please contact 1-800-CALL-FBI or visit the FBI tip website. And here is surveillance video here.
This literally saved my marriage. Every time he takes it, it's like the first time we met all over.
If you have car insurance from State Farm, Allstate, Liberty Mutual, or Progressive, stop scrolling.
There you go. There is no sound, so. Those were two separate clips of video. There's a still photo that was recovered. I think he was trying to cover the lens of the camera with these flowers from the yard, from the hedges. I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, there is a photo of the front steps where these flowers were all over the ground. Here is a head to toe shot of the uh, suspect. As you can see, fairly stout individual. The head shape appears to be a bald or mostly bald person because of the roundness and etc. There's no like lumps from hair being up under there. You can see facial hair above the lip and below. And the FBI is saying that that is a distinct brand of workout jacket there, and should be easily recognizable to citizens as they see these videos and still images. And there's the post where Kash Patel released it onto X. There has been a potential break in the Nancy Guthrie abduction case. Whoa, my page glitched right there. Law enforcement may release a surveillance photo of a potential subject this afternoon. Per NBC News, law enforcement is expected to release a surveillance photo showing potential subject. That's what we were just looking at, by the way. According to CNN, the subject is wearing a mask and carrying a backpack or tools. It's apparently a backpack containing tools. Nancy Guthrie was taken from her Pima County, Arizona home last weekend, and this is still developing and ongoing. And I'll bring you updates as they are released and come across my feed. So, if anybody thinks they know who this person is, then, give the FBI a call. Some internet sleuths are using AI and attempting to kind of unmask this individual using facial features and etc. From looking at the mask and everything. One individual had Grok quote take the mask off the subject, and the face that it produced had a lot of the features of the Guthries. So, I mean, and in cases like these, very commonly, it is a family member or friend of the family or someone closely related that is the culprit. in many of these cases like this. So, don't be surprised, if we finally find out that it was one or more of the actual Guthrie family taking part in this thing. The whole thing feels off to me. It feels weird, um, like like something's not exactly right. Like we aren't being told the whole story, or like maybe it's the family involved. I mean, their videos that they in which they have pled to the public and etc. and pled to the abductors and all that to release their family member and etc. Um, they just seem off. Now I know the very first one was written by the FBI. That's generally protocol in these cases. The FBI will write a script for the family to read on camera, and it is written in a certain way that they do pretty much all of these abduction cases like this, and in fact holds some kind of eerie similarities to Silence of the Lambs, and that just proves that the creators of Silence of the Lambs did their homework and they knew what the FBI would have written in that initial appeal to the abductors. So that's the way I see it anyway. Feel free to put your opinion in the live chat, or if you're watching on replay, feel free to put it in the comments below. Okay, let me get ads out of the way and whatnot here. All right, next up, North Carolina Democrat sheriff left completely humiliated after repeatedly botching a simple U.S. civics question during a hearing. And there is video. An elected official sworn to protect his county failed the most basic of civics questions in humiliating fashion on Monday. As Axios reported, the North Carolina General Assembly interrogated Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden, a Democrat, by the way, on a wide range of issues, including immigration and the deaths that occurred in county jail under his watch. His handling of immigration received the most scrutiny, with many lawmakers blasting him for his handling of the murder of Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska last August. You all remember that. I reported on it extensively. Blood is on McFadden's hands because a career criminal who had no business on the streets to begin with committed the offense. The hearing then took a rough turn for McFadden when North Carolina Republican State Representative Alan Chesser decided to test his constitutional knowledge with a very basic question. What branch of government does McFadden operate under? That is a very, very basic question. Okay, the correct answer, of course, is the executive branch, given a sheriff's role in enforcing laws. But a clueless McFadden instead repeatedly gave the wrong answer, saying Mecklenburg County and the U.S. Constitution. Now, he is sworn to uphold the U.S. Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and he is sworn to protect Mecklenburg County his authority comes from the executive branch, which means the President of the United States. Chesser then asked McFadden how many branches of government exist. The answer, of course, is 3. Unsurprisingly, the sheriff had no clue. The Republican lawmaker went on to name the 3 branches, legislative, executive, and judicial, to save time, and asked McFadden again which branch he operated under. Even with a multiple choice version of the question, McFadden still got it wrong. He told Chesser his department fell under the judicial branch. Then Chesser finally broke the truth to him. And here's video, by the way.
Watch what happens when a
After the
50-year-old
commercial.
man blocks DHT naturally for just 90 days.
This is how I went from 194 to 127 in just a few weeks. I decided to keep quiet about it.
So first, if I were to classify your position as the highest law enforcement officer in the county, would that be a fair description?
That's correct.
And as such, you made reference earlier that you're a constitutional office. My colleague made reference that there are constitutional divisions amongst responsibilities between us and you. What branch of government do you operate under?
Mecklenburg County.
What branch of government do you operate under, Sheriff?
Constitution of the United States.
Correct. That is what establishes the branches of government. I'm asking which branch you fall under.
Mecklenburg County. I'm a duly sworn Mecklenburg County Sheriff. We answer to the people of Mecklenburg County.
This was not where I was anticipating getting stuck. Are you aware how many branches of government there are?
No.
Oh, my Lord, why is he sheriff?
For the sake of debate, I will move on and say there are 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial. Of those 3, which do you believe you fall under?
I believe I fall under the last one,
Would you say it to me?
judicial.
You are incorrect, sir. You fall under the executive. And as a member of the executive, what do you believe your primary function is?
Care and custody of those in my custody at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center.
That is part of what your responsibilities as sheriff are, sure. But as a member of the executive, your primary function is to execute upon the law, to enforce the law.
And that's correct. That sheriff has no clue what he is supposed to do. And this part here is transcript. And that completes the whole article. But I wanted to show you that, and by no means is this the only local sheriff that has no clue what their actual job is, what branch of government they serve under, and etc. Their job is to uphold the law. Now, a part of upholding the law is, having people in custody and taking care of them, keeping them safe, and presenting them to the courts for their court cases and etc. But that's not their primary function. Their primary function is to uphold the law. Period. That is actually what the executive branch does. The number one law enforcement officer in this country is President Donald J. Trump. He is, according to the Constitution, he is the sole person who embodies the entirety of the executive branch. Everybody beneath him has authority and power delegated to them from the President of the United States. So, a little bit of basic civics knowledge there that many sheriffs have no clue um, about those basic civics, and it seems to me that that should be a requirement to fill that position. It seems to me that anyone filling any elected position should know inside and out what their primary function is, what branch of government they serve under, and etc. So again, my question: why is this guy sheriff? You know, if he doesn't know what his job is, why is he sheriff? He can't fulfill his job if he doesn't know what it is. Let me know what your thoughts on this are. I think it's kind of hilarious that they have a sheriff that doesn't know what his job is. Um, some of these sheriffs, they get elected on a popularity contest. It has nothing to do with their ability to carry out the actual job and adhere to the law and uphold the law. It's just simply a popularity contest, and then they get that badge, and they get sworn in as sheriff, and sheriffs are the the highest officials, the highest law enforcement officers, and they should at least know their jobs. So they get that badge and they're sworn in as sheriffs, and the power and authority goes straight to their head, and they end up abusing said power and authority. Happens all the time, all across this country, even here in Georgia, and in my opinion, especially here in Georgia. I actually know a number of sheriffs in this state, and I feel personally, it's my opinion, that most of them have that same issue, that power and authority that came with that badge and that position has gone to their heads. And I've seen personally cases where that power and authority has been abused. So take that for what you will. And let me know your opinion. Jump in that chat and tell me. And if you're watching on replay, get in the comments. Let me know. I read those comments, by the way. And I do pay attention to the chat. I love it when viewers tell me their thoughts on what I'm talking about, or pretty much anything. All right, moving right along. Seems that with this latest dump of Epstein files, there is a return of Pizzagate. If you remember Pizzagate, that was a really huge thing that ended up in a attack, a shooting, not of people, but of a pizza shop that was suspected to have been a front for child sex trafficking and etc. With pizza terminology being used in the descriptions of the children and transactions and things of that nature. I think, as conservatives, we should all remember that, because it had everybody in an uproar. There were the people who swore that it was just a conspiracy theory, and other people who swore it was real, and etc. But hundreds of bizarre references to pizza appear in the new Epstein documents, and they're raising some eyebrows that, hey, maybe Pizzagate might have been for real, you know, and it might have been more widespread than anybody ever thought. Outside of perhaps Watergate, no quote gate scandal has quite captured national attention quite like Pizzagate. Pizzagate was a conspiracy theory that exploded online during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, alleging that a child sex trafficking ring involving prominent Democratic official, excuse me, can't stop yawning today, uh, involving prominent Democratic officials was being run out of a Washington, D.C. pizzeria called Comet Ping Pong. The theory grew out of hacked and leaked emails from John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, which conspiracy minded users on forums and social media interpreted as containing coded references to abuse. Despite repeated denials, the story spread rapidly across platforms like Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube. The consequences turned from online rumor to real world danger in December of 2016 when a man armed with a rifle went to the restaurant to, quote, investigate the claims and fired shots inside. Thankfully, no one was injured. Authorities declared there was no truth to the allegations and said the pizzeria had no connection to any trafficking operation. Now, see, they declared that definitively, without any real, there was no real investigation done or anything like that. But, after that man went in there and shot the place up, they just, definitively said, no, there's no connection, and, all this. Now there was accusation that, children were being held in the basement of the pizzeria, etc., Comet Ping Pong. And the place apparently, from what officials said, had no basement. Now, the idea of a basement and people being held in the basement, was speculation. It was speculation on how everything worked with the whole Pizzagate conspiracy. Nobody really actually knew how it worked. They were just deciphering these what appeared to be coded messages and making some assumptions along the way. However, there was never really any official investigation, at least not as far as the public was made aware. But Pizzagate has since become a textbook example of how conspiracy theories can take on a life of their own via social media and political polarization. All these years later, the story still hasn't completely died off due to critics who mock its existence and true believers who still feel that something sinister is afoot. And the Jeffrey Epstein files appear poised to rip open this sealed pizza box anew. As the Department of Justice has unsealed troves of documents related to the convicted sex offender, It has given countless intrepid minds the chance to dig into the files themselves. And for the more conspiratorial minded, a simple keyword search for pizza in the search bar yielded plenty of food for thought. There are 849 results within the Epstein files when you search specifically for pizza, and even more details when you dig in deeper. Um, Reporter Tom Elliott is one such investigative mind. Um, he uncovered an odd fascination for discussing pizza among Epstein and, quote, his friends. And Tom Elliott posted up these documents here. They're emails related to Epstein and his, quote, friends, and their enthusiasm for, quote, pizza. um, Quote, as always, I am not making any claims, Elliott said in one of the posts on the multi-post thread. Quote, just reporting what I find as I dig through these files. Even the staunchest deniers of Pizzagate would feel compelled to admit that Epstein and his associates sure do have a weird thing for, quote, pizza. Vanity Fair similarly reported on this unusual love of pizza and dug up some interesting quotes. Quote, what time do you want to get pizza and grape soda tomorrow? One 2018 correspondence to Epstein read. There was a 2015 email with the subject line, quote, your pizza is yummy, yummy. Quote, this is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand, a different 2018 correspondence read. Of note, grape is a euphemism for rape, often used by online content creators who want to avoid getting dinged on social media. I think we all know that. Vanity Fair reported that, quote, Pizzagate searches spiked over the weekend following these documents' release, proving that interest in the conspiracy theory remains high all these years later. And of course, if anything else comes of this story, this Pizzagate story, I will bring that to you and discuss it further. But yeah, it seems that maybe, just maybe, Pizzagate was real and Epstein was at the center of it, as well as his so-called friends. Something to make you kind of go, make you think a little bit, you know, because a lot more was going on here than meets the eye. And I think most people kind of want to, it piques your curiosity, makes you want to know exactly what was going on. Although, both the left and the right are using these various different stories as distractions from other stories. So, just be aware of that and don't stop paying attention to everything else, such as the fraud investigations going on in Minnesota and in states across this country. You must continue to stay vigilant and watch the whole big picture, not just microcosms of that big picture. But let's move on. Yet once again, um, all right. Now we are going to we're going to talk about the American Color Revolution and how globalists use Saul Alinsky to subvert our republic and how we save it. This is an article from Joe Hoft. You'll notice that I spotlight a lot of his work on my show. I agree with most of the things that he has to say and his opinions on it. So, and of course, we know Saul D. Alinsky wrote Rules for Radicals, a pragmatic primer for realistic radicals. For more than a decade, the United States has endured a calculated color revolution orchestrated by global elites, WEF networks, open society foundations, deep state holdouts, and their corporate media allies. The objective was never, quote, democracy. It was the methodical dismantling of national sovereignty, constitutional order, and the American Republic itself, replacing it with a compliant node in a borderless technocratic system. Many of their tactics came straight from Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals: personalize and polarize the target, Rule 13, ridicule without mercy, Rule 5, apply relentless pressure, Rule 8, force the enemy to live up to its own rules, Rule 4, and push every negative until it flips, Rule 11. The revolution nearly succeeded. It was halted only by the awakening of the American people, and it will not be fully reversed until citizens themselves seize direct, transparent control of the elections that are beating heart of self-governance. All right, phase 1. Institutional capture, 2008 to 2015. Barack Obama trained in Alinsky-style organizing, accelerated the infiltration of media, academia, intelligence agencies, corporations via ESG, and NGOs. Every institution that should have protected the republic was turned into a vector for the agenda. Phase 2, the 2016 backlash and escalation, 2016 to 2019. Trump's victory triggered full spectrum Alinsky assault, the Russia collusion hoax, 2 phony impeachments, and nonstop ridicule of the president and supporters as fascist threats to, quote, democracy. In fact, the persistent overuse of the phrase, quote, our democracy, continues to this day, often deployed to subtly downplay or even erase the foundational reality that the United States is a constitutional republic. Phase 3, the 2020 seizure, the stolen election, and the weaponization of doubt. The 2020 election was the pivot point. The existing election ecosystem, centralized voter rolls, opaque electronic machines, mass mail-in ballots, private funding of election offices, and denial of real-time public access to records was deliberately left ripe for abuse. And abuse it they did. You know, the Brennan Center for Justice claimed the The 2020 election was the most secure in U.S. history. The lie, our 2020 election, from poorly rated Dominion to a country flooded with unaccounted for mail in ballots, was probably our least secure ever, quoted Donald Trump. The truth, the 2020 election was the most secure in U.S. history. There is no evidence that any voting system deleted, lost, or changed any votes. That was what the Brennan Center for Justice claimed. Ballot harvesting, unsecured drop boxes, algorithmic manipulation of tabulators, injection of unverifiable ballots, and coordinated censorship, y'all, of any contrary evidence turned the election into a hybrid covert operation. The media industrial complex then lied in unison, quote, the most secure election in American history. Anyone who questioned the outcome was mocked, deplatformed, labeled a conspiracy theorist, and worse. The most chilling example remains Tina Peters, and she is still being made an example of. The former Mesa County, Colorado clerk who dared to secure and examine her county's voting machines in 2021, searching for proof of compromise, was criminally prosecuted, convicted on state charges by those coordinating with the, at the time, corrupt federal government actors, and subsequently sentenced to 9 years in prison. Through an engineered trial and sentenced by one of their controlled judges, even after President Trump issued a full pardon in December 2025, Colorado's embedded regime refused to release her. She remains behind bars today. That single case proves the corruption is not just federal, it is baked into state and local machinery that still answers to the old order. This was Alinsky in action. Personalize the threat. Election skeptics equal, quote, insurrectionists. Ridicule them. Keep unrelenting pressure and make examples of anyone who tries to audit the system. Phase 4, consolidation, 2021 to 2023. With power secured, the revolution weaponized lawfare, ESG corporate mandates, big tech censorship, and cultural erasure through DEI and gender ideology. The media continued its role as enforcer, suppressing the Twitter files, the Hunter Biden laptop verification delays, Epstein documents, and every subsequent revelation of interference. Phase 5, exposure, counter-revolution, and the road ahead, 2024 to 2026. The mask has now fallen. The Twitter files, Catherine Herridge's CBS disclosures, declassified documents, whistleblowers, and the public's own eyes have exposed the machinery. Trump's return, the collapse of legacy media credibility, and growing state-level resistance have turned the tide. Yet, the revolution is not defeated while the election system itself remains in enemy hands. The declaration that points the way out. The American Citizens Declaration of Independence from Election Manipulation, the foundational document of the Hand Count Roadshow, lays bare the problem and the solution in plain language. It identifies the relentless pattern of abuses, complex electronic machines that hide the count, centralized control that removes local oversight, unlimited absentee ballots that invite fraud, denial of public access to records, dark money influence, disinformation, insider threats, and foreign domestic infiltration. The fix is stunningly simple, proven secure for centuries, and verifiable by any citizen, regardless of education or means. County level in person voter registration with ID and periodic in person re verification. Hand marked paper ballots. Small precincts, roughly 1,500 voters. In person voting with ID on a single national holiday, except rigorously vetted absentee. Translucent ballot containers. Scanned ballot images at the precinct. Public hand counting by bipartisan citizen teams in full view and under camera at the precinct before ballots are moved. Immediate posting of precinct level results on election night. Full publication of ballot images, tally sheets, chain of custody logs, and video within 2 days of the election. Open public audits, including students learning civics by retallying ballots. What is going on, Joseph? Glad to see you in the chat. How do you figure? Oh, that kind of suppression. Well, we don't want Elvis voting, considering as how he's dead. Or at least as Agent K said, he has gone home. Okay. So as long as he is no longer a resident here on Earth and is declared legally dead, he should not be voting in the first place. So those are the votes that we wish to suppress, and all voters should wish to suppress, Joseph. Oh. I thought you were being serious there for a second, and I was about to question you on how that's suppression, but then I realized, yeah, sarcasm doesn't always, come through in the text. Sometimes it takes a minute, and sometimes people don't actually see the sarcasm until, like later on down the road, they start thinking about it. Wait a minute, he was being sarcastic. So yeah, I get it. These methods are not radical. They are a return to the transparent, local, citizen-controlled elections that built the republic. They eliminate the attack surface that globalists exploited for decades, and they are achievable county by county, state by state, right now. In fact, the Progressive Election Platform, PEP, that Mark Cook put together even utilizes technology, but in the right manner, to create a system that is transparent and verifiable instead of opaque and built on blind mandated trust. The Hand Count Roadshow exists to make this happen. Public briefings, demonstrations, work groups with officials and sheriffs, and grassroots organizing to reclaim county control of elections. Citizens are urged to share the declaration everywhere, attend the public events and private training sessions, demand hand count pilot programs, and hold their local officials accountable. The final truth: The color revolution succeeded in 2020 because the people no longer controlled the count. Every other victory, exposing the media, draining parts of the swamp, or electing real American citizens, will be only temporary until that control is restored. Until American citizens take direct, hands on, transparent ownership of their elections through hand counted paper ballots under public scrutiny, the Republic remains vulnerable to destruction. The globalists will simply wait for the next cycle, refine their tactics, and strike again. The counter revolution is here, the declaration is written, and the roadshow is rolling. The Hand Count Roadshow 2026 tour. So there you go. That is the way that we claim our country back, is by demanding actual change in the way our elections are handled. We have to demand this change. Our elections have to be secured, and they have to be verifiably secure. You have to be able to verify it multiple times over, you know, in order for it to be secure. And there can be no error. In my opinion, there is zero margin for error when it comes to electing people such as the President of the United States or members of Congress. We have midterms coming up, and I would like for those elections to be secure, and therefore that way we can put the people into our representation that we actually want. Not these career politicians who do not have our interest at heart, neither for the Democrats nor for the Republicans. Many on both sides just simply don't have our interest at heart. They have their own pockets at heart, and their very, very lucrative careers at heart, because they got a hustle going. Not only are we paying them, but they're using their positions to make money as well. They got a heck of a hustle going on, and they don't want that messed up. And secure elections will mess that up, because then the will of the people will be heard loud and clear, as it was on the presidential election in 2024, where we gave President Trump and his government a clear mandate. We gave him the popular vote, the electoral vote, and we flipped all the swing states and even turned many, many counties red that once were blue. There are no actual blue states anymore. There are red states with little enclaves of blue within them. Well, I say little. They're highly populated, highly dense, compacted enclaves of blue within them. So, with that, I am going to call this a show, because that's how I intended it. I intended it to be a short, roughly an hour long show today, so that I could go on Killer Carl's show this evening. And I just got notification as I was saying that Carl's not going to be streaming tonight. So, if there is any comments or discussion of anything that we've discussed tonight, or anything I discussed yesterday or whatever, feel free to jump in that chat and start a conversation, and we'll talk about it for a little bit. If not, then that's going to be the end of this episode. So jump in there and comment, and hey, we'll talk about it. Big Tony will speak on it, as I always say. That smells interesting. That's a soap that Mad Marilyn made. I don't know. You can't really see it. It's still warm. So let me put that to the camera so you can see it. This is cherry and honey, and it smells like it too. It smells good. Honey cherry, whatever, however you want to say it. Cherry honey, honey cherry. These are her handmade, handcrafted artisan soaps. She has lots of different scents and etc. All of them completely organic. Uh, eventually, she has just started out, so eventually she will be on the internet and selling them. But for now, she sells them by request and etc. So, uh, and mostly word of mouth, from her hand to the customer. Um, However, I'm sure she probably would not turn down someone requesting a soap and wishing to buy some, or any one of her products. She has body butters and lotions and various. She has soaps. She does candles. Everything is all natural and organic, so you're not getting any of the nasty chemicals that most of these companies like to put in everything. Redonkulous.com. I might check it out. I might check it out. It starts at 8 on Rumble. Okay. Okay. I might check it out. Um, is that your show, or are you advertising for someone that you know, Joseph? Oh, no, not your show. You're just advertising for somebody else. Okay. Okay. I might check that out. Well, they're a good group of guys. Okay. Okay. Um, are they political, or are they just kind of whatever? Um, what's their shtick? What's their niche? Uh, Tuesday is politics, history, or current affairs. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. Oh, that sounds like it might be interesting. Thursday is comedy, usually women behaving badly. I think you got Marilyn's tickle box there. She had cracked up when she read that. You do that all the time. She's off from work tonight, so she's here, and yeah, she can get on my nerves in person. That was her words. So don't think I'm saying anything behind her back. That was actually her words. You what? Yeah, she's actually proud of being good at getting on people's nerves. But if she gets on my nerves too badly, I know how to hit all of her buttons. So yeah, but yeah, okay, I might check them out. Have to see what I have going on. Um at what do you say, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Yeah, 8 p.m. on Rumble. Okay, I have to look them up. And as a matter of fact, I can actually look them up. Let me just here. Let's see. Right, right. I'm searching them right now. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of their past live streams. Right, right. They have one scheduled for tonight. Yeah. Champagne socialism. Okay, okay. Okay, so they just post directly to their user account. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Sometimes they play a drinking game where every time you hear Bolshevik, you have to drink. I do not play it. uh, I don't drink, so yeah, I couldn't play that. I mean, I might hit a shot of water, or maybe a zero sugar soda. I don't drink, so okay, okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, okay. Yeah, they are showing an upcoming live stream. Okay, I might have to check it out and see what's up with them. Anyway, since you recommended them, I'm going to go ahead and give them a follow. So they just got a follow out of that. You go tell them that Big Tony Speaks followed them. Give me a follow back. But like I said, I might check that upcoming live stream out here in a little bit when they decide to go on. But yeah, yeah, I'm always open to checking out new creators. New to me. I'm not saying that they're new creators. You know, um, but I'm always open to checking out creators and seeing what they're all about and etc. Mm. And I have no problem with giving creators a follow. The only thing I generally ask from them is to give me a follow back. Creators need to support creators. You know what I'm saying? It's we're all in this, maybe not for the same reasons, but for the same thing. We want to get our message out to as many people as possible, whatever that message may be. So, but yeah, you have a great one, Joseph. And I hope to see you next time. I'm on Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. And the show is Big Tony Speaks. So, yeah, come back and see me next time. And when you do, remember, Big Tony will speak on it. And that goes for all the rest of you. God bless you all. God bless America. Come back and see me Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. And as I told Joseph, remember that Big Tony will speak on it. For now, this has been Big Tony Speaks. I have been Big Tony. And I'm out of here. You guys have a great one, and gals. Don't want to, ignore anybody. But y'all have a great one, and I'll see y'all next time, hopefully. And I'm out of here.